was working for Western Union when I transferred into Dothan, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got there and realized that the air base out here paid twice as much as this little group you're working for,
Right.
then I went to work for them as well. And then some of the girls and I think I mentioned this earlier, just decided that we would join the Army ourselves. But then they all backed out of it. So, but me, I stayed with it. And I
Now,
never
what made
regret
you, do you remember why you guys were like, well, that would be a good idea, why should, or was it just like total group think where you guys were all just together and decided?
Well, we were just all having coffee. 3 or 4 of us had been together a long time anyway. And we just decided that that would be a, nice thing to do.
Yeah.
And they all swore up and down, But then they all got out, but me. But I never regretted that because I did enjoy it. I really did. Even the old tents and the mosquito netting and all that stuff. I hated that, but I enjoyed being in there with the other gals, and it was quite an experience.
I'm a native of Wyoming.
Okay. Grew up where then?
Worland, Wyoming.
Okay.
And brought up in Torrington. And in 1940, joined the National Guard because we knew we were in trouble.
Right. Okay.
We went to camp in 40 in Fort Lewis, Washington. And that was for 2 or 3 weeks to get our duty in. But when we got back, we had a nice notice that we were set up for a whole year. We had, Uncle Sam needed us
Right.
to keep the Japs off their coast. We worked the coast until 1943, and then we were called finally to go into foreign service. So the whole regiment, we headed south. Some had already left of the troops, and one shipload was already in Hawaii, and they called us all back. They said, we need you in Germany instead.
Oh my gosh.
So we were set there in the PO where Liz was. And she was my blind date.
Oh, really?
That's for sure.
Wouldn't talk to me. I just kidding.
Who set you up? Who set you guys up?
Well, the first sergeant and I were roommates. And so she had a
So we
baby.
became acquainted. She was a supply sergeant, and I was the regimental supply sergeant, master sergeant.
And what did you think of him after you met him a couple of times? What was it about him that made you?
I don't know.
Well, I
liked him.
haunted her supply depot, her supply sergeant.
He ripped my
And
system
we got
down and put his
through
on.
what I created. That's how we come in.
He'd been doing that longer than I had, and he thought he knew more than I did.
Do you have any pictures with you and Jay in this book?
Do we?
I don't know.
I'll say.
I'm sure you got something.
I don't know either.
When you get down at the bottom of it. I think most of them's in another one.
Well, that's not you, is it?
Well, our call finally came that we would go to Germany. And it took us, I think, around 6 months from the time we were to go west, that we finally went to Texas. And we left the States in December. And we landed in France. Now, the war was about over.
What year did you land in
January
France?
45.
Okay.
had duty until the 31st of October, 45. In the meantime, we corresponded letters constantly.
Every day.
Wow.
We said we would.
Yeah.
So I understand that you guys kept most of your letters until kind of recently.
Yeah.
And how often would you look through them, or
Never.
never?
But we weren't going to throw them away until we did read them.
Right.
So we had a big fire out here at the fireplace one evening, and we started. And we'd read one, and he'd read one.
Wow.
It got
We burned them.
pretty hot.
We burned them up.